This is Wise and Nerdy, where fatherhood meets fandom.
Oh, daddy-os! Calling on my daddies. Come on in. Nobody likes to be called daddy, and that's why I like to do it. It makes me laugh. So welcome to Wise and Nerdy, where fatherhood meets fandom, and this is the place that dads belong. And tonight, we have new friend, Manny Faces, on, and you were just on Be Awesome Together with Tyra and I, and then of course we told how we met you at Pod Jam. And your energy was just fantastic, and you had little baby faces come by and make her she's your daughter, and she made a fun comment, and I was like, I want to have you on my dad geek show. So here we are, and oh look, it's working. Look at our chat, Joe. It's cool. So Bob Knutson here. Bob,
hey, Bob Knutson.
That sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Bob Knutson reporting live from Wisconsin. He's actually from Wisconsin. You got Wisconsin in the house.
All right, here's how we do. We have a question of the week that we're going to get, and we're going to hit. Hey, Valencia, for coming in. She joined in. And then we're going to roll the dice. And we have 6 segments. And the one that you need to have ready, 2 you need to have ready. Okay. One is what you're nerding out about this week. What's got you excited? I think I can guess. I think I can kind of take a hint at what might have you excited. And then the bad dad jokes. Okay. Joe can't tell a good bad dad joke because he gets so happy he just kills the punchline and he just starts laughing. I hate him. He knows how much I hate him. So we got that coming. But Joe, what's our question of the week?
The question of the week is: as a child, what did you wish to become when you grew up? Charles never grew up, so it's, is what it is.
I want to grow up. See, I was indoctrinated by TV, and so I believed in love because I saw Sesame Street, and then I believed I didn't have to grow up because I saw the Toys R Us commercials, and I could never go to Toys R Us. So that was my goal as an adult. What's the go there?
You were like the kid from Dream On.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? The from that show, like the HBO show. I never knew because all he did was live off TV.
Yeah. So, all right, what did we want to be? Well, Joe, what did you, if you say Mormon, so help me, I'm going to leave. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to program video games when I was younger.
Okay. You're kind of close.
Not just play them. Games. Not just play them, but program them.
Make them. Yeah.
That's interesting. A lot of people don't realize, kids are like, they play them. I want to make a living doing this. But you were like, no, I want to make them. I want to actually contribute to the downfall of society.
I remember when I was like 7 or 8 getting into a DOS text screen and thinking, hey, if I just describe it, it'll do the game for me, right? So I just started typing up a description of a game, and I'm like, why isn't it working? But no,
You're still way ahead of your time. You needed Chat GPT. You were prompting.
That's right.
You was a prompt engineer.
You were a prompter. You're a prompt engineer. That's amazing.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to do, and what I ended up doing is becoming a software developer. So I don't make video games, but it's along those lines. It's not far off.
I mean, you made me click through 15 different screens to get my insurance coverage, but sure, it's not a video game. Well, Andrew says I wanted to be a rock star as a musician and I wanted to be a rock star, and as a musician and music teacher, I feel I achieved my dreams. You know what? That's awesome.
That's what's up.
As you can tell, I've also wanted to be a rock star, and while I decided not to fight the fight of the garage band, I think I did okay. I think I came out pretty good on the rock side of things.
I mean, you got the hair, thing going. Just make it. You work that into the mix.
Hey, I earned the name Rock God of Podcasting. Let me tell you, when I walk into the room, you think you're in a metal concert, and everybody starts thrashing. It's fine. Bob here says I wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. Not growing taller than 5'10" killed that one. Really?
Nope.
Short
I don't know. Yeah, I was like,
no
I don't
Bob Phelps.
Normally associate height with that. So,
but that was Michael Phelps' thing. Like, he was really super tall, and like I think he had like extended armpits, like a fish, right? I think he had like
armpits.
Yeah, I think that was his secret weapon, and he's just genetically gifted.
He's got webbed armpits.
Yeah. He can also like paraglide, like fly off a cliff. It's crazy, But yeah, so good for you, Michael Phelps. But
I still didn't think so. He's missing out on two dreams. He's too tall to be a jockey and too short to swim.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I guess water polo is totally out of the question.
Yeah, Bob. By the way, to be on a nerd show, like I'm such a nerd. I wanted to be a paleontologist.
Nice.
Okay, all right.
You know what I mean? Like we all like dinosaurs, everyone's like that. But I was like, no, let me excavate. Let me dig up fossils. Let me, try to figure out I found chicken bones in my backyard one time and I was like, yo, I found a dinosaur.
That's awesome.
I was so excited about I actually wanted to be a paleontologist. Later I wanted to be like a rapper and a producer and I did music stuff. But when I was younger, I wanted to be a paleontologist. That was my thing.
I'm gonna guess, looking at you,
like Ross. Like Ross from Friends. Yeah. I was like, I know what that means because I wanted to be a.
I'm gonna guess you were not a child when Jurassic Park came out.
Oh God.
So
no.
So what? So you really, truly just.
Yeah,
the dinosaurs caught your attention.
Books. I mean, I was a book guy, so I was a library nerd, and I used to go to the children's library. I grew up on Long Island, New York, and there was a children's library and an adult library. I don't know if that happens everywhere, but in my neck of the woods, there was a children's library, and next door was the adult library. And I would read all the books in the children's library to the point where I kind of ran out of books. And I was like, I read everything here. Can I go to the adult library? Like, no, you're not 12 yet. They were like 10. And I was like, yeah, but I read all this stuff already. And then so the library person would write a note and put it in with my little children's library, not that kind of adult library.
Random kid coming in.
But and as I want to go to the adult, not the adult section of whatever. And they would write a note, and so I go and I'd be able to use my children's library card in the grown folks library. It doesn't even sound any better. So to the point where I started reading books in the intelligent library, whatever. I'm trying not to. And then they got to know me, so I was like the only kid in my town that was allowed to use the other library.
The slow kid library.
I was a book nerd. So the point of the story is that's where I got dinosaur stuff from. That's where I got my interest in stuff.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
Andrew Wade calls it all you.
No.
Andrew says all you can read buffet is a good one. Oh, so the other night we were talking about how I wanted to be vet and I'd take care of 3 monkeys. Oh, that's your wife.
That's my wife.
Nice. Good one.
But we were talking about listening to eclectic music and just wide ranges with our kids and stuff. And Earth Station Boo popped in and said polyamorous. That came up today. One of my kids went from some hardcore rap to it was Jason Mraz, I'm Yours. And that's a hard transition to make. Cool. And then I told my wife that she thought it was a great term too. All right.
Polyamorous, brilliant.
Growing up, man, I wanted to help people. I wanted to be a cop and protect the innocent. And then later I was like, screw that noise. Because at 14, I was 6 foot tall and already 300 something pounds. I was really overweight. And,
so you should have been a swimmer.
Yeah,
you could have stolen his dream.
So that's what I guess I should say be a performer because I've definitely grown up to be that. But at the time, we're talking about the late 80s, early 90s, right? To be creative that's celebrated, you more and the energy that I want to do is rock star. And so I did. I went through all the paths of teen bands and college bands and different things, and then ultimately got hooked into podcasting and just turned that energy there. So I definitely think to a point I've achieved my dream. But yeah, being a police officer, and I became a paramedic, so I kind of became police adjacent. I just don't like. Never mind. I was gonna make a joke that Joe would not approve of.
He just doesn't like people, so being a paramedic, he can decide who gets to live or not.
There is that, I guess.
All right.
I guess.
You're about to do CPR. You're like, you know what? Get a load of this guy. Get it.
Let's see. We've got Valencia Burns commenting. I wanted to be a singer when I was younger, but I have been interviewed on internet radio.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
You've played the part of being paparazzi'd.
And then we do have a speak pipe from Steven. We played it last week, but we're going to go ahead and play it again because it answers this question. So,
hey, friends, this is your old pal Steven here calling because I was looking at this question of the week of, as a child, what did you wish to become when you grew up? Man, as far back as I can remember, when I first wanted to be something, and I knew that was a concept, I'd been watching a lot of Dragnet. Now, this might not surprise you because I'm kind of an old man in a young man's body, but I watched a lot of Dragnet when I was 5 or 6, and I wanted to be a detective. My mom said, you can't do that. You might get shot at, and I'll worry about you all the time. So I switched it up and said, I want to be a comedian. Then I wasn't very funny, or at least that's what my dad told me many years later, that it wasn't funny. And I was like, okay. So then, like most kids, I grew up a little bit, wanted to be a rock star. And while I wanted to be a rock star, I built a website for my band and a bunch of other stuff and got into computers while being a guitar person. Still wanted to be a rock star, then wanted to be a filmmaker. I went to school for that for a semester. And then it all came down to, hey, you can make money doing that computer stuff that you like to do. Really? That was a shock. I thought I was too dumb for that. And anyway, I became a computer guy and kind of still am. So yeah,
kind of.
Thanks for going on that journey with me. You guys are amazing, and have a great night doing your show. It's wonderful. Bye.
Thank you, Steven.
All right. Shout out to Steven. It's really, we talk about it all the time. Charles, we talked about it the other night. Like, there's that correlation of like music to computer. There's a music to computer pipeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's, sometimes when you're working with equipment and garage banding, you got to make things work that, you're basically an engineer. You're an impromptu engineer. You have to figure things out. So you have that kind of mind. Some people just play. Even if you just play, like you're figuring out how to coordinate and all that stuff. And I don't know, if you happen to also get, I think early in life, like get access to computer stuff, folks our age or y'all age, I'm a little older, I think, but generally speaking, that also interests you in the same way that music and production and equipment and so like I always say, like for hip hop, like DJs are super engineers, we're super nerds because we have to figure out how the equipment comes together, we have to do signal processing, we have to do wiring, and sometimes we got to strip the wires with our teeth and put them together and tape them up, like but that's music, but it's also engineering. And so there's I always say there's a music to computer pipeline. And this is how nerdy I get with y'all. I also had a BBS, a bulletin board system.
Yep. Right? You got to dial into it.
Yeah. So I started one. Like we used to go into them, and now I started one. So here, this is the ultimate coalescing of my nerddom. So I'm a hip hop guy and I'm a BBS guy. Those usually don't mix, but there's enough of us out there. My BBS was called DOS Effects.
I like it.
You see what I did there? So yeah, so there's a music to computer pipeline, and I think it just has to do with a lot of that, engineering and basically computery, what ended up being computery stuff. I think our minds are built the same way.
Yeah, it's a flow. Like if you understand music, it helps you understand math, and
right.
I just figured out how things programmed in, like you're talking about. Andrew says, my uncle did one semester at Juilliard, realized he wasn't a concert pianist. So he studied computer programming at RIT, and at one point was executive VP for Apple.
Well, there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
So Joe, let's roll some dice. While he's doing that, I'm going to talk about Facebook comment we got today. I did a little promotion for the show. Grabbed Manny's standard photo, which is basically where you are right now. In your studio, right. Kind of head cocked. You got the hat, right?
Same hat.
And, yeah.
My favorite hat.
Yeah. It's a great picture. I know it's your favorite hat. It's amazing. And I'm not lying. It's not like we have a 1 million person audience and we get comments all the time. It usually takes some time to get any kind of comments. Sure. Within 5 minutes, a James Borden commented, he is way too old to be wearing that style of hat. That was it. That's like the most grumpiest dad thing I've ever heard. And I figured the response we'd get was the one you just gave, where you cracked up at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, James Borden, you're too old to be named after milk. Look at that, James.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, Joe.
Oh man.
What did we roll up?
I'm from New York, baby. We're gonna wear a fitted till we die. I'm talking about. Get out of here with that.
All right, the Parliament o Papas. And this is when you brought it. I'll let you to kick it off there, Joe.
But it was in the list, and I didn't put it there, so I'm assuming you did.
All right, well, I'll do it then.
I will introduce it if you want,
No,
because apparently you don't want to take ownership of your own ideas. Ideas are cheap.
I'm sorry.
I got this.
I carried your water all the way here, and you know.
Best family vacation spots, theme parks, national parks, road trips. What makes for the best memories?
Sitting at home, letting them leave you alone.
Man.
My family is all into adventure and experiences. So for us, it is not necessarily like going to the theme park, but we made an adventure out of going up to Dollywood. We had, as you know,
I'm trying to go there.
Oh,
I've never been there.
It's fantastic.
I'm so excited because I'm from New York, but I live in Atlanta now, so I get to do things. Like we went to Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
And I was like, Gatlinburg is so corny and kitschy, but I love it.
Have you been to Helen?
Yes, we've been to Helen.
Okay,
at the street lighting, we were there. Like we do all that. We don't care. We're tourists. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. I went to New York. I went to New York and looked
Forge.
up at the buildings. So, we all do touristy things.
Got a crick in your neck?
Yeah.
From looking
you gotta
up?
do touristy stuff when you live there too. Like wherever you live, like when we lived in New York, we started doing like touristy stuff. Like I took the kids to the top of the Empire State, but people don't do that when you live there. You got to do the touristy stuff where you live.
Yeah.
Like we take it for granted. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
I know you're fine, but do it. Take your kid.
Yeah,
Take your
Dollywood's
little
on
go
the
to Dollywood.
list. Yeah.
It's fantastic. So we actually made a whole little weekend out of it where the kids call him Uncle Hugh. He's been a long time friend of mine since before they were born, all that jazz. He flies in from Rhode Island, and we go do something together. Like he's coming in tomorrow night. We're gonna hang out all Memorial Day weekend and whatever. And so we made this adventure where we went up to Dollywood, stayed in an Airbnb, and just you had some downtime where you grilled out on the back porch and just hung out. Because even though you still have your devices, it's just not the same as being at home.
Yeah.
And so you talk more, and we play some video games, and we went and found a bunch of mountain coasters. If you haven't done a mountain coaster, Manny, you need to do a mountain coaster.
I don't know what that is. It's very removed from rural white America. I need some.
That is so sad. But it's touristy. You got to do the touristy.
Yeah,
thing.
no, I get it. I love it. I'm here for it. Like people are like, you want to I get it.
It's literally a gravity driven little plastic cart you sit in and you go down the mountain.
Oh, they got them in Gatlinburg. We saw them going down the thing. Okay, yeah.
They have them all up in the mountains.
It was like we were like there in April. Like we had a little cabin with the fireplace. It was cold. I was like, I'm not going down that thing in the cold.
In the cold, yeah.
Yeah. So, but okay, fair enough. Good, cool. Oh, look, in the chat, Yvonne. That's by the way, that's Mrs. Faces. She said we almost did it, but it's too cold. Look at us.
Yeah.
She knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, we were there.
Well, we got to teach her online security. It should say lady faces.
I know. It's okay. Look, I put out the book, and the book came out on my government name, and it was a big, long, decision that I had to make. So, yes, I did dox myself, but it's all good.
You know what? Bad things happen to bad people.
I'm not worried about it.
You're good people. It's good.
Unless you're a bill collector, then my name is Manny Faces. You don't know me. There's no credit report for Manny Faces.
But I think so. Even we've taken the older kids to Disney twice, the younger kids once, and we're actually planning a trip in the spring. We're saving up all the pennies to take them to Disneyland because I've got a kid who'll be 21 next spring, and then the next one will be 20, and so we're doing one last big family vacation.
Yeah.
But it's not just about Disney for us. It is about the experience of the airplane and the location that we're in. I'm the only one in the family who's been to California, and so experiencing California a little bit and experiencing a dip. But we just don't go and stand in line and we plan the day. So you go in the morning, we do a bunch of stuff. We go back to the house in the afternoon and chill out. Go back in the evening, and so it's a flow of experiences and very little money on garbage because I hate that stuff because they never care. And what's great about my family is we've raised them to where photos are their best souvenirs. They really like, if we go on a roller coaster and they made that funny face, we'll buy them the photo, but we take photos, that kind of thing. So for us, it is about the experience more than the destination. What about you guys?
Growing up, my dad was all about road trips. So we drove across the country several times while I was growing up, which, you know, we got to see a bunch of different things, stop at different historical places, and but it wasn't. So we would stop along the way, but we were always going to visit family. Like the destination at the end was to visit family. So like when we were living in Washington, we drove all the way across country to Philadelphia to visit family. And one of those times was with our Bobcat in the car with us. And so that was, so man, I've told the story before, but we had a pet Bobcat when I was younger. No. We had a pet animal Bobcat.
See, again, I'm not very familiar with a rural white America.
Yeah, that's some crazy Mormon stuff, man.
No, it's good. That's why I had to ask. I'm
just saying, I've been invited to a few barbecues. I don't think Joe's ever been invited to the barbecue.
Bobcats are cool. Like, why not? Okay, go ahead. I'll let you. Yeah. Not an ocelot, but go ahead.
Not an ocelot. Nope. Okay. They're endangered. At least they were.
Right. Of course. Bobcats. Yeah.
Bobcats. They're all
Bobcats. Ocelot. That'd be crazy. But a bobcat. No problem.
Exactly. Exactly.
Understand now.
But as an adult with my kids, we go to the beach every year with my in-laws, and that's a much shorter drive. But it's all about spending quality time. I don't think it ultimately matters what you do so much as who you do it with, and making sure that everyone has fun as well. Because I've been on vacations where there were some people that are just miserable the whole time. Now sometimes it was their own attitude that really should have been changed.
Yeah, Kelsey.
Because you can extend olive branches and try to do things that they would like, but you know, some people just have bad attitudes. But anyway,
and if the Bobcat ran out of cigarettes, forget it. The Bobcat was like, I am grumpy. I need a fix. I understand.
You know what's funny? Okay. So Andrew put up this thing. Now, Andrew, y'all need to like and subscribe. You're adding to the show. I need you to come back, add more to the show, Andrew.
Yeah.
Because
don't just be here for me.
Yeah. He goes, is this like The Hangover? Let me just tell you, I've referenced Mormonism at least 3 times now because I don't know why I just triggered. Joe is a living, breathing Mormon. So was his dad, and the stories from this family is like Mormon Hangover. I'm not kidding. He cheated at NASCAR. Literally, was like a NASCAR driver. Yeah, cheated at NASCAR. Revved his motorcycle because he's pissed at the preacher, and it's something about motorcycle. I don't know. But
those are very skewed versions of the stories. But
I mean, totally. It's all over the place. But it is Joe's life. Yeah, when you meet him, he's I'm a programmer, I'm a dad, and I'm a Mormon. And then he tells one story like, this is Hangover 4, man. I don't know what's going on.
I don't think I've ever gone out of my way to be like, in an introduction, be like, I'm a Mormon.
That's your go-to every time. I've told you to stop doing it. Cut it out of the show.
I mean, it has come up. Like I didn't tell you that I'm a flying spaghetti monster, follower of the...
Oh, classic.
I'm a nerd. I know these things. I'm that nerdy, bro.
May the flying spaghetti monster bless you. All right. So, Manny, where's yours?
Oh, God. Also road trips. For a good decade, we had no choice but to take road trips. We had a dog. Now, people have dogs. They take the dogs on the road. It's fine. Sometimes you don't. You board them. You put them in a kennel or whatever, and maybe you have to fly on a plane and go somewhere you can't take your dog. We had a dog named Max, and rest in peace, Max. Good dog. He was handicapped. So after 4 years, perfectly good dog, perfectly, and then he broke. But he basically how we would say, like, we got a herniated. Did I give you a spit tape on that, Joe? Did I get the spit tape? I was timing it. I was trying to get it. I didn't know if there was a lag. But I was going for it. You need a new keyboard, my bro. You need a new keyboard. So we had Max for a while, and he was 4 years old, and he was like running through the house, and he kind of, and like we were like, oh, what's that? He's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, all right. And then he came to bed later on. He was like, no, I'm not good. And he basically, what we would call like a herniated disc. Yeah. Like we'd be like, oh God, got to go to the hospital. Dogs are like, I'm just going to keep running. And when you just keep running, it kind of basically like you get paralyzed. And so he was paralyzed from like the middle of the back part of his back down. What that means to have to help a dog do the natural things that animals and people do is, well, we won't go into that. But for 10 years, we raised Max handicapped, perfectly handicapped. He would slide around the house like a seal. He would like slalom and bring him around. He had a little wheelchair when we would take him out. He was freaking awesome. He was dope. We had to actually what's called express his bladder, right? We had to basically squeeze the pee out of him. And then he would just like poop wherever the hell he wanted. So it was absolutely unsanitary household. No, we kept it clean. He kept it good. We got his patterns down pat, but we couldn't, like, not a lot of kennels can take care of a dog in that situation. Like, you got to be really, a lot of people can take, and I get it was a lot. And like, we were like, what the hell are we doing with our lives? But we did it, and we did it for 10 years. So we did always take road trips. So it was a thing, Airbnbs near the caverns in Virginia back when we were in New York, Niagara Falls, but it was the road trip, staying together, being with Max, being us, all together as a family, letting the kids see like different just parts of, America, doing New York City things, even though we were in New York, and doing the touristy things. It was not like a cow, Andrew. I didn't like it wasn't like that. It was like you kind of squeeze it, like, it's hard to explain. Like a hot water bottle. Yeah, I don't know what hot water bottles are. I'm
Capri
like
Sun. It's like a Capri Sun.
Yeah, it's like a Capri Sun. You squeeze and anyway, like a cow. I'm not like jerking the dog off. But yeah, anyway, so because of that, we took a lot of road trips. And so the kids knew like that was it. And we had our little, we had our road gear. We took like 8-hour road trips, 16-hour road trip. We came to Atlanta. Went to, Canada, Toronto from New York was like a 10-hour drive. And we would just do that. And, sometimes we'd plan, stops along the way. Could we stop in DC and let them walk around the DC stuff and see the pencil and see the Capitol building and see the memorials and do all the touristy stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of road trips. And it was a lot of good memories because, we had our boy with us and that was sort of like how we rolled. So yeah. Road trips are key. They're fun.
Yeah, that's what made Joe and I. We were co-hosts a while back, and until you really get to know somebody, you don't get to know somebody. And we ended up being able to go to this festival in Chicago for the show we were doing, and neither one of us wanted to fly, so we just took a car, 14-hour ride up, and everything else was taken care of. You either love somebody or hate somebody after a 14-hour road trip.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how we came out. We're still figuring that part out. We're here.
And I gotta say, like the driving across the country thing, like one of the kind of like, now getting to be bucket list, kind of ideas is like, have an RV and just kind of go and just be like, we're gonna take, a month and just plan it all out and go from like, Atlanta to Seattle and just, hit up all the, so like things like that. So I would love to do, because we really do love kind of the road trip ethos, and not fully bought in because we don't have an RV because I can't afford one. But if we could, we'd probably then go somewhere.
I wonder if there's places where you can rent RVs from.
We looked into it. You can. You can.
Okay.
A little pricey. Yeah. But it's something that if things work out, we'll probably talk to me in like 5 years, and we probably got one little hitch kind of joint, and we're gonna just go somewhere and decide, take the dogs, plug into a campground, and who cares about an Airbnb, and it will be not. I'm not saying we campers. Like, again, I'm not familiar with the rural white aesthetic. I'm not going out there, doing all that.
Joe went camping in a snowboro, just so you know. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do some things. Let's just say. So yeah, but I enjoy the road trips. We took baby girl Faces to the resort. We flew to Jamaica. We did it was cool. She had a great time, blah, blah, blah. But I'd much rather, hop in a car and like take a 5-hour drive to Savannah, and then spend a weekend out there doing the ghost tours and doing touristy stuff. It's yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts, Manny?
I mean,
all right, we're gonna have you back on to have that discussion.
I'm gonna say I'll say this real quick. Generally, no, but there are probably, and we don't have to go into it now, but there's probably 2 or 3 instances in my life that I don't know. There was something else happening there. So generally, no, I'm a very logical, scientific kind of, atheist kind of like, for the most part. However, there's a few things that happen that makes me just hold out hope or hold out, like not close the door on any of that stuff. 100% that I will absolutely say to this day, like I can't explain it any other way. So no, but maybe.
Right.
Yeah. There's something going on in the ether.
Apparently, your wife's all about a road trip to Utah.
Oh, yeah. So I actually got people in Utah. Shouts to Tasha, Dr. Tasha Iglesias. Utah's beautiful. Like, that's one of the places. Like, that's the thing. We have like a few places like, Utah, because, the beauty and the natural, rocks and stuff, that we'd want to go to, like, that are kind of like, you wouldn't go there to like, vacation necessarily, but you would go there to like go to enjoy the trip there and then enjoy the being there. And then, so Utah is definitely like high on that particular list. Yeah.
So Andrew's an interesting cat. My sister was on Good Morning America as they believed ghosts were in the house. So they use a special ring tool to video surveillance any ghosts.
I'm going to guess they didn't surveillance any ghosts.
Yeah, I don't have that upgraded on my ring. I don't have the ghost package.
My Simply Safe is like, I don't know, just call the cops.
Yeah.
Safe. Call the cops. Okay, you're Simply Safe. You call the cops. And so
And then the ghost pops up. I'll call the cops.
There you go.
All right, go ahead and roll that dice, Joe.
All right.
Something you said the other night, Manny, as I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember what triggered it, but it made me go dig this out. And the most dad, look, kids, I'm hip moment is there's a couple of books I think every family should have if you're a decent parent. One of those is Go the F to Sleep. Right, that's the book you gotta read to your kids, or get Samuel L. Jackson to read it. It's great.
Right.
This is the other one. It is the Hip Hop Alphabet.
I've seen that book.
And I don't remember where we found this. I've had this forever. And it is exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
It has L is for LL Cool J,
Sure.
Queen's Finest, no doubt. It's really cool. It's fun. I just wanted to.
Yes, it was really coolio. Just kidding.
Wow. Wow.
Look, if you go to patreon.com/wise__nerdy and donate today, I can afford to get a host who can tell real jokes. All right, what'd you roll, Joe?
I thought that was pretty Coolio Iglesias, if you ask me.
God, come on. No, not two of you.
Bad dad jokes.
Yeah.
It's time for it. All right. You ready? We've got one from Devo. He sent it in this evening.
Hey, Joe. The other day I tried to catch some fog. Unfortunately, I missed. So, Charles, that's called a play on words, otherwise known as a pun. But, Joe, it's also known as a
punny joke.
Are we doing tag teams now? Are we doing plan ahead tag teams and still ruining the punchline jokes?
Yep, just for you. I've been promised that you've got some hip hop dad jokes, Manny.
Well, no, there was and you got to look it up. Because it lives in a few places online, but someone came up with like, you're opening a hip hop themed restaurant, and what hip hop dish will you serve? And it was like Notorious BLT, and it was like 2 live stew.
2 live stew. Can't even say it. You're laughing too hard
and like
already.
Wu-Tang Flan, and like there's so many, and it's so they're really good. And like if you just look them online, there's Ice-T, of course.
Wow,
yeah. And just so I'm looking at some now. Some Hamilton and cheese sandwiches. Like, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. A tripe called Quest. Come on.
A tripe though.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of them. It was done in a bunch of like in Twitter and on Reddit and stuff. So I like those. They're actually really funny. Yeah, so there was some that are out there. They're very entertaining. I did get 3 since you told me to come with some dad jokes.
Okay.
The world famous baby girl faces. Right? She'll hate me when I do this.
Check 1, 2. This is baby girl faces.
All right, that was a long time ago, like 8 years ago. She's like, Dad, I don't sound like that anymore, bro. I'm like, God damn. She's like, my agent is gonna be calling you in the morning because I'm like, what? So I said, I need some dad jokes. So give me a couple for the show. So these are some from baby girl faces. Is that okay if I do that?
Yeah.
Go for it.
She says, April showers bring May flowers, but what do May flowers bring?
Hay fever.
Sneezes. Yeah. What?
Pilgrims.
Oh.
I don't get it.
That's the funniest part of the joke. Okay, for the
May
podcast.
flowers. The Mayflower.
Oh, the Mayflower.
For the podcast, Manny and Joe are the same person. He was like holding back, bursting out laughing, waiting to tell the punchline.
Pauses, it's like Mrs. Saturday Night. You see what I did there? I gave you a pause, and then I brought it back around.
And then Joe not knowing that was just a great icing on the cake there.
And by the way,
I'm sitting here trying to divvy up the word pilgrims. I'm like, is this a drug joke? Pilgrams? What?
I'm not gonna lie. You don't know my daughter. Well, some of y'all know. The people Valencia knows. They've known her for like years. Her comedic. I have like 6 kids, bro. She's the best one out of all of them. Like, and they're like, don't say the other kids. Oh, no, they know that too. They agree. Her comedic timing is perfect. I would have spectate. God, they all agree, but her comedic timing is spectacular. The other day, we were talking about taking road trips and what we would use to fuel us, and so it's funny because like I like, like coffee, and my wife, she drives, she always drives, and I said Skittles and Coke because that's like her, she drinks. My daughter, without missing a beat, was like the drink or the drug. I'm like, you're 10. What is wrong with you? Brilliant, though, but her timing was so perfect. All right, so one more from her. She says, what do you call a song about a tortilla? A rap.
That's as bad as Andrew's.
Pretty bad.
I believe it's Andrew. Yeah, Andrew Wang put one in. I can't focus on my work because someone is rapping about me. I've been distracted.
Come on. There you go. That's a hip-hop one time. And
Can we roll some dice?
The last thing she says,
Nope.
where do pirates buy hooks?
The secondhand store.
You two are killing me. You two.
Yeah, baby. She picks. She's like, these are the ones that I think are pretty good.
So roll some dice, Joe. When my youngest daughter was 8, I think she was. I was making some jokes. I was doing some aggressive humor in the house, and I said, no old ladies are allowed around here. And without missing a beat, she went, hey, that's not nice. Mama's sitting right there. And we couldn't be mad. It was just like the burn came in. And then if I remember after the show, there's one I can tell you on the Patreon that I'm not allowed to tell here on the broadcast. But I'll try to
Family show.
Yeah. Back to the adult library, says Andrew.
This
is what Kurt would have wanted.
You got to go to the adult library.
Oh, man.
That's
all right,
wild.
what do you get, Joe?
That's funny.
Time for a commercial break.
All right. So I actually didn't prep you for this, but this is where I'm going to play a little bit of some cool music, hopefully, behind you. And Manny, you're going to talk about...
Manny will be the judge of that. We'll see if it's cool music.
Basically, our commercial is, go to patreon.com, Wise and Nerdy Doll. Call that. We'll hit that in too. But basically, just tell people where they can find your book. And I'm sure we're going to talk even more about it in the next section. So let me find you something. It's been a hot minute since I've remembered what these songs are. So I'm going to see if this suits. If you don't like it, we'll get a different one.
It'll be fine. I'll rock over.
No, that's too soft.
Oh,
there we go.
I was about to get Wise and Nerdy After Dark over here.
Yeah, no. Here you go. Here's a little bit more upbeat.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to wrap it up. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah. Like, hey, yeah.
All right. Where can we find your book? Where can we find you?
You need a book. I have one. You might need a new book. It might have pages. You need something with pages? It's great. Do you like hip hop? I have a book about that. Do you hate hip hop? I have a book about that. Get the book. Hip hop can save America. It can save America? Yes, it can. How? Read the damn book. I can't tell you now. It's a whole book full of that information. You can find it at mannyfaces.com/book. Makes sense because my name is Manny Faces. It's a book. There's a slash between us. Easy for you. That means you know how to read, and then you'll be great if you have a book.
Oh, that was beautiful. Let's listen to some music.
I'm Bob.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob!
Hey, come in here with the Riz.
Not pick favorites.
A wild Bob has
A
appeared.
wild Bob. So,
He just rizzed all over y'all. He just came in and popped all that Riz on y'all.
oh man. So, wiseandnerdy.com/calldad. That's where you can leave your voicemail up to 90 seconds. We'd love to hear from you. We love hearing from you each week. We got the question of the week. Tell your bad dad jokes. Just tell us how much you love us. Whatever you want to do, we've got you. And patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy, where you can support the show and hang out with all of us. So, well, me and Joe, I have to pay Manny Faces, and we already had to schedule around the East Coast Finals, so I can't afford to have him all the time.
I appreciate that. Today was a tough day. We're not going to talk about it.
And Bob's right. I think I'm going to I'm going to cut that segment out for you and send it to you. That pitch needs to be an ad. You had so much fun with it.
I've been working on it for about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it was good. And Joe, make it a clip, and we'll get it to him to use as well. We do clips afterwards with all this stuff.
I will will gladly share the clip of that well-timed and well-practiced ad.
It was, sometimes in the moment is the best.
100%. It's freestyle, baby. That's hip hop. We freestyle. We take things off the top. That's how we do it.
All right, Joe, we have some housekeeping to do, which is usually to announce the next question of the week.
Yes. So for our June 12th recording, the question of the week will be, what's the one food you could never bring yourself to eat? And again, if you ever forget what the question of the week is, if you head on over to wiseandnerdy.com/calldad, the upcoming questions of the week are listed there, and you click that speak pipe button and you can leave us a speak pipe, like Devocite did. This one is titled EMT Training Frustration.
Oh, yeah. Okay, real quick before you hit the button.
Okay.
He actually gave me a little prep. He's going to ask a question about it. So I'll try to keep it kind of short, because or if you want to, we can save it for tell me a story on the next show, because from what I understand, let's find out. Let's just do it and find out. But he's going to ask a question and tell a story about EMS, which might trigger me to go on a diatribe, but we'll see.
Okay, then let's go for it.
Hey, Charles. I am so frustrated right now. My son completed a 2-year EMT program at our local vocational school through the school district, and he was told at the end of this semester that he is not prepared for clinicals. Now, I know that this teacher, he's a very good teacher, and I've talked to other people outside, and he's well known. But what happened is they brought in an additional teacher, and he left for 3 weeks and went down to help with the relief effort, the hurricanes. And she just didn't do what he asked her to, or I don't know exactly what to say. She's just not a great teacher. My son had her last year. He didn't like her. He wasn't going to continue the program, but he found out this teacher was doing it, and so he continued on. And he really liked it, but now he's not doing his clinicals because he's not, quote unquote, prepared. Now, like I said, last year, I know they did them because I met some of the people who did those clinicals. He's actually leaving the school district teaching because of her. Mm-hmm. She's giving him unprepared people, and he can't get the school to understand that, so he's done. It's just terrible that he's being saddled with that, the teacher, my son, and this is going to be not serving, students coming forward any better. But yeah, My son's going into the U.S. Army instead, and he's going to go into combat medic. I know it's pretty rough,
Well,
but
yeah.
he'll get a lot of experience. And coming out of that, I know he'll have to still, if he wants to continue on, he'll have to get certified and so forth, but he'll be in a good position. But yeah, that's my frustration today.
So yeah, I do want to bring that back around on the next show or two, Joe, somewhere in there, so we can really make it a long response, because it is messed up. It is very messed up, and unfortunately, it's not a unique story. And here's something else to know about EMS. So emergency medical services, right? We're the guys who run the ambulances, bring you to the hospital. There's a lot more to it, but that's just a quick overview of what we're talking about. And you go to Army, awesome. Combat medic, amazing. It won't get you squat when you come back to the U.S. You will literally do paramedic level things, and at best, you can test for the entry level, bottom level EMT thing. And I've met many a combat medic. Now, it does depend on your program. So, John, I do want to give you this to take to your son. As he's enlisting, get it in writing, find out. But I believe there is a way that as he goes through his combat medic training to get what's called national registry at whatever level they're actually training him at. So perhaps if he can get that and then maintain it for the time that he's in, then he can come back, because that's what America recognizes as the national registry.
Is it like certification kind of deal?
Because if you don't get that, so I'm not that familiar with the military, but I do know it might be possible that you can get combat medic and actually come back to the United States as a paramedic if you get the right training and the right certification, and that's national registry. And of course, John and I talk offline. I can help him with that.
That's interesting.
But because the worst part is, I worked with a great EMT, and I was a paramedic, and she's telling me how she served in Afghanistan and did this and did that, and was putting tubes in people's chests, which we don't get to really do in America that much as paramedics even, and doing all this medical level stuff. And then when she got out of the military and said, okay, I want to continue on in medicine, the United States went, okay, you can test for this basic level, which means you can drive and put pressure on wounds. I mean, it's more than that, but it's not what she was doing and trained to do.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind. It's like, unless you take care of your own life, the military does not set you up for civilian success, and vice versa. I mean, if you don't take care of your own life, the EMT class won't set you up for success either. Sometimes.
Interesting. Another weird dichotomy where you serve your country, but your country doesn't necessarily serve you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because the machine takes forever to move.
Yeah.
Well, it's just another example of a formality where it's not an issue of skill. It's an issue of formality. Just like people who come here from other countries who are like doctors in their country, and you hear about them like they're janitors and stuff here because their experience isn't being recognized here.
Yeah, I've seen that happen where and they have to do like underground medical stuff, and it's like they're perfectly qualified. I knew a guy that was a dentist in like his apartment in like Queens. Like he had a chair and everything like in his living room, and I'm like, this is real? And they were like, no, it's fine. I'm like, but he's from some other country, and he was perfectly fine. He would like the lights would dim when he would turn on the equipment and stuff. They don't notice this, like the whole apartment building is dimmed, and then he fixed my teeth for like $28. I was like, this is great. But get this guy a job. He's like, I can't. I'm not certified. They want, so I have to go through a whole process. Maybe you have a green card as opposed to a naturalization. Whatever your level is, you can't get a thing. But like you work and you can save people's lives and fix people's teeth. Like, what's the holdup? Let's go. Yeah.
I haven't done a ton of research, but my oldest daughter, it wasn't sure what she wanted to do in life at one point, and my wife's always encouraged her.
Tell her go to paleontology.
But she can find dinosaurs. What they did a little bit of research about
a dinosaur. It's a chicken bone. Go ahead, sorry. It's very traumatizing.
You can go to Germany.
I was so excited.
Do school there for cheap or free, as long as you stay and give back to the country. You work there for a while, you pay tax, you give back. They make education so much more accessible. In some of the countries, right? And it's here. It's just there's so much America does backwards.
There's some stuff on the states level, not to cut you off, but like New York has like this Excelsior program. They give you a deal. You go to a state school. Georgia has it too. It's the Georgia
Hope Scholarship now.
Yeah. So like, but then you gotta like, as long as you stay in a state for like 4 years or 8 years, some time frame, and contribute your, we'll give you the plug, the hookup. But yeah, it's very discouraging to see anybody who's gone, to any of the armed forces in particular, and say that you can't come back and just like get anything you need. Like it's,
Yeah.
Now I will say New York also pioneered something. I came up through medicine in the 90s, and you could not in most of the country, you could not go from paramedic to nurse. There was no bridge program. You had to start over, even though they're basically the same training, just two different flavors. One's in hospital, one's out of hospital. They are very, very, very similar. Yeah. They didn't have any bridge programs, but New York did. Yeah. And part of the Excelsior program was that. And so I didn't do it personally, but I could have signed up, did everything remotely, fly up there every once in a while and take some tests and do some hands-on stuff. And then I would have had my nursing degree as well, or my nursing certification. But
there's definitely a stripper to dental hygienist pipeline too, because maybe I shouldn't. Anyway, never mind.
So, Joe, I know you don't know what that is, but a dental hygienist is somebody who works on your teeth.
God damn, I've never met an ugly dental hygienist. Like, I mean, I'm not even trying to be like, misogynistic. Like, it's just a fact. I've lived there. Phenomenal.
They all look like Magic Mike.
I digest. Oh yeah.
All right, Joe. I guess,
brother.
Do we have any other speak pipes, or are we ready to roll on?
No, not tonight.
All right, roll some dice.
All right.
I'm surprised you don't have like a 20-sided dice, you nerds. What's going on?
I've got plenty of 20-sided dice.
You don't have a Dungeons and Dragons dice.
So the reason why we roll 2 is in case we get something we've already covered, so that way we have increased odds of.
All right. All right. You out nerded me. I get it.
Hey, what was it?
Nope.
Daddy, tell me a story.
Tell me a story.
All right, Bobby. We can tell you a story.
Man, this one fits. So this one is tell me a story about your side hustles. And man, I gotta imagine you've had a ton. My life is all side hustles.
Yes,
honestly. It is. Let's see. Currently, I don't actively drive Lyft, but it's still always in my back pocket to go and drive and pick up some people for money. I've hosted karaoke and trivia, and done live event services, being like build stages and run concerts, all in the same period of time. Currently,
you were driving, you're setting up.
Hold on, here's a wrench. I'll be back.
It's pretty impressive.
And a little bit of trivia about that wrench is stupid.
Sing along with the song about the wrench. Yeah.
What currently I consult for the ambulance company I used to run. I'm the executive director of One EMS charity, One EMS Unified, trying to raise money for that. I teach EMT school. I record and produce podcasts for other people. I work for Dragon Con as a multi-level director. Man, I just see. Oh yeah, I'm selling a medical test to hospitals and doctors and sports teams about detecting concussions. And it's a really cool thing. I mean, all these little things, right, that just go together. I no longer desire to understand I have a job that I go to world. I know I just came out of that this year again for a second. The first time, Manny, I came out of it.
Yeah,
was I don't know, 2015 or so, and it was on the hustle for many years and got back into it, lost the side hustles a bit, lost my way, but learned a lot of things and got positioned where I needed to be. But Andrew says teacher, researcher, and performer. What about you, Joe? Do you have any side hustles?
There was a while there where I was getting commissioned to make maps for people.
Like for gaming and stuff, right?
Yeah, I made a map for an artist who wrote furry comics. So I made a map for his furry comics.
You get those at the adult library. I know.
Yeah, that's
I
a
know.
good joke.
I'm back to doing plasma again. Got a bruise from the last time I went.
I'm trying to think about that.
Yeah, through college I did that to get money for Dayton. Well, and groceries is good too. Yeah,
Sure.
donating plasma, just like Bob says.
There you go. I may
but,
not be able to do it, and I'll tell you why. But go ahead.
Yeah, there is a screening process. My father-in-law is not allowed to. He's been barred from donating plasma or blood because he had a false positive for hepatitis or something. But
I think mostly it's because we don't want that New York blood floating around down here in the South.
Come on, man. First of all, sir. First of all, I have O negative New York blood, which means I'm a universal donor, and my blood tastes like bacon, egg, and cheese. So anyway, go ahead. Vampires love me in the morning.
Oh man, but yeah, that's. I mean, I've done a few things here. There was while I was in college, I had several different jobs that, like doing the market research calls and stuff like that. Those sucked. Yeah, everyone loved getting calls from me.
My worst hustle was working daytime hours at a skating rink in a small town. It was the worst. I hated that.
Sounds boring.
It was very bad. I read so many books from the adult library. So many.
These furry comments are great.
Oh, man.
Furry comments.
So,
bro, everything's a side hustle for me now. So, I mean, even my job is weird because, like, I did work for like about 15, 20 years for the same company. The company evolved into different things. So it was a newspaper, and so I was doing print production, graphic design for a print product. Then it turned into digital, so I ran the website and I built the website. And then we started taking on clients that were our advertisers. So I built other people's websites. So now I'm a website designer, even though I work for a newspaper that I started with as a print graphic designer. So now I'm a web designer. Then I managed the whole process, hired other people, had people under me building websites. So now I'm a digital design, director, all these things. Then eventually that company ended up kind of weaning off the newspaper thing and started merging to a digital marketing company because we got so good at building websites, and now we're marketing the website. Then I'm building their podcast studio, right? So even within a job, it's all side things. At the same time, I've got my own. Where the hip hop can save America thing comes from is I started an online publication covering New York area hip hop music and culture. So during the day, I work for this local weekly newspaper, and at night, I'm in New York City covering shows and talking and interviewing performers and being at all these events and then writing about it on the blog. And I'm actually doing that during the day too, which is fine. They didn't know. They did know because eventually they were like, "Hey, we're going to fire you." Right. And I'm like, "Cool." And they were like, "But we want you to start your own company because you're doing all these other things, and then sign us as your client to keep producing podcasts for us." So I was like, "Cool." They were like, "This way."
Okay.
And the boss said, he goes, "This way, and it's never stopped you before, but you can now keep doing the other things you were doing." You did notice that I was doing moonlighting a little bit. So the side hustles turned into then I started my company, but they were my clients. So then I picked up some other clients, but at the same time, now I'm migrating, not covering artistry and the independent music scene so much, because I started finding people that are using hip hop and these really inventive and creative ways that could actually help uplift humanity and education and health and wellness and science and technology, and that where the hip hop can save America stuff comes from. So I'm like, well, let me start covering that. So then I start building up this ecosystem. Doesn't really pay me anything. Sometimes I get speaking gigs. Sometimes I do some keynotes, and that's picking up more and more now. And so it's been like a consortium of side hustles that have all kind of come together to be the hustle, which is me doing 7 things, but simultaneously. And I'm a DJ. I would DJ for a band that I was the band DJ, and they would perform, but then I moved to Atlanta. So now I only do it in fits and starts. So
you're going on that final tour with Wu-Tang, right though?
Yeah. Wu-Tang Flan.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Flan. You see what I did there? I brought it back around. You joked earlier. They call me Mr. Thursday Night. But yeah, so it's all side hustles, man. It's all been like, little things that I've somehow, picked up. And because I was, foolish or maybe like blessing and a curse of like, I never went to college. My dad was a college professor. Go figure. Brilliant man, sociologist, dope. But I never went to college. I went for like 26 minutes. Had a kid out of high school and was just working. But I just saw
all in 26 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, it happened 20. It was very, very quick. And then so just like picking up things, right? I got into graphic design because I had a home studio. I was making music, I was making beats and kind of as a side hustle. And I was like, I got to advertise it, so I got to make a flyer. So I had to like acquire some like graphic design software and learn how to make my own flyers. So I learned how to do graphic design. So it was always just like finding a thing to learn and working it into my, mix. And now I can do like 78 things, that's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Master of many, like not all, but some I'm pretty good at now. And it's all that's my life. My life has been literally a smorgasbord of side hustles that now serve me pretty well, in this media ecosystem gig economy. And y'all did it too, so I can't really chalk it up fully to hip hop, but I do think that people coming from that mindset, that ecosystem, that ethos, where a DJ is an engineer, right? A DJ is also a sort of a psychologist, right? When you play music to a crowd, you have to understand how the crowd is reacting, and you have to make adjustments on the fly. And there's something social engineering in there, right? And to be, someone who has a studio, but you have to promote, you have to be a marketer. And so there's like a lot of skills you can get. To be a rapper, I was a rapper for a while. I didn't like make it or anything, but I became a better communicator. I became I had better comprehension of the English language and how words come together. So if you just pick up like all the little things that you pick up along the way, they turn into your side hustles, which get incorporated into your main hustle. And so, yeah, man, nothing but side hustles over here.
Now, I'm going to pick at you for a second, because you're like, oh, you guys did it too, so I can't talk it all up to hip hop. Assuming, sir, even though I grew up in South Georgia, that I did not grow up with hip hop.
No, I mean, you did, because you're an American and you lived between the years of 1974 and now. So you definitely had influences, whether you appreciate them or not. And I appreciate that you pushed back on that and said, hip hop helped formulate myself too. It just, most people don't. Like rural white America doesn't always know that, in between Bobcat road trips. So I apologize for judging, for prejudging.
That cat was in the Two Fang clan.
Come on.
But real quick before we move on, it was the mainstream hip hop at first, right? That's what I got exposed to with like LL Cool J.
Come on, y'all! Like we recognize it. We know the name of the show.
But then LL Cool J and Queen Latifah and Fresh Prince before he was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Absolutely.
And DJ Jazz. So I got those, and then I got into. I mean, that's not real hip hop, but I got into other things, and. It caused some problems in the areas that I was in, and had some issues. But I would love to talk to you about that someday. But right now,
I mean, you guys have so much in common. You both got fired and told by your boss to get paid to do something else.
I was like, say less.
They're like, get paid to do your side hustle.
You're gonna pay me part of that. Like, let's go. It's actually worked out pretty well. Still, I like 429. I started the business. I don't know if you heard about this. In 2020, there was like a pandemic.
A thing that happened.
Yeah, and it was a kind of a bad time to start a business right before that.
I mean, if you bought plenty of toilet paper, it was a great time to start a business.
I was not in that business. I was not in that line of work. But we've survived.
Maybe you should have been with your dog.
I know. Oh yeah. Pandemic.
I meant to ask you earlier. Was your dog a Dotson?
No, he's a big dog. He was part. He was what was he? He was part Labrador and part Pit. So he was a good medium-sized dog, like a good
and part Iron Man.
Yeah. 100%. I loved him. He was great. The best dog. Good dog. South see you, Max.
So,
AKA Bark Obama.
okay.
AKA Puppy Chulo.
So we were going to adopt a certain set of puppies that had just the right feel to them. They were both little chihuahuas. My wife loves chihuahuas.
Okay.
And they really had the feel that I wanted to name them Biggie and Tupac.
Okay.
And it's a long story. We didn't get those puppies.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to save the names. And then we did get a puppy, and he didn't fit those names, so we didn't use it. But then we got one.
Biggie and Tupac. You have kids now, they're twins, and they're named Biggie and Tupac. That is great.
My wife hates it, and I think you'll love it. I named our dog that he very much looks like he's a Chihuahua, but he looks a lot like a Doberman, all that coloration and everything.
Yes.
And he's Biggersley Smallerton the Third. We call him Biggie Smalls.
I love it. I do love it. I will see your big. What is it? Biggersley Smallerton the Third. Smallington the Third. I will see your Biggerton Smallerton whatever the third. I've been drinking. So we have a dog. We picked her up. Her name was Miss Elena. That was like the foster name, whatever.
Sure.
And so we're gonna rename it. It was like 3 months old, but like, you don't know your name. We're gonna give you a new name. And my daughter, Baby Girl Faces, the world famous, said, so like she was young, and one of the words that she had just picked up recently was Mississippi. Like, like it was a fun word for like a 4-year-old. Mississippi, I can say Mississippi. And so Miss Elena, she's like, it sounds like Mississippi. We should name, if we get, and we're in the store, like we're deciding whether we're gonna see. It was during COVID. We had to like go to this meet and greet. We were like in a room by ourselves with this dog, this puppy, and she was like, if we name it, we should name it Mississippi. And I was like, that's actually kind of a cool name, like Mississippi. That's different for a dog. Like it's better than like Bella. You know what I mean? Like no offense, to people who have dogs named Bella, fine, but like Mississippi's got something behind it. So I'm like, I like it. That might stick. That just might stick. So then we leave. We get to take the dog, obviously, because once you name a thing, you know what I mean? Like I named you earlier, Joe, Dad, and so now you're my dad. Once you name a thing, it is what it is. So we take home Mississippi, and we love her. And I'm like, all right, but like, we had Max, who was also like AKA Barack Obama, AKA Puppy Chulo, AKA Pup Daddy, though we don't really use that one anymore. It was funny at the time, Max is sliding around with baby oil. No, it's weird. I didn't know.
At the end.
I didn't know it would come back to haunt me. So I said, all right, so her name is Mississippi. Yeah, I was like, all right, well, her middle name is Elliot.
Yeah.
Random kid called it.
So yeah. So she's Mississippi Elliot Faces. So then we get a new dog a bunch of times later. Grayson. But he's already like 6 months old, so I feel bad changing his name like that. I'm like, this is like, you wouldn't change Annie's name. You know what I mean? The adoptee, the Annie. Anyway, so I was like, you don't want to change his name, like he knows his name, blah, blah, but let's give him some more names. So we were like, all right, his name's going to be Grayson Timberland. So we got Mississippi Elliot, Grayson Timberland. Although then we gave him more names. So Grayson's full name, if I can remember this right, I wish Baby Girl Faces was down here with me. It's Grayson Timberland Tank, Evan Williams, Jalen Brunson, Jib, Grayson Derulo, Charles Faces. So that's his full name.
Wow.
Let's get adding on to his name. So yeah, so we have
named after you,
Elliot.
Charles.
Yeah, that's it. Charles, you got you in there, baby. That was just for you.
And Evan Williams. The Evan Williams, the drinking?
You damn right.
All right. All right. I dig it.
Yeah. So anyway,
see, I love that I'm not the only one who does that.
No.
I love that I'm not the only one who just does
I love that I'm not the only one who does that.
I do it to my kids to a point. Well, so another time. Joe, are we down to the
old dirty bastard? Go to bed. Charles. You can't call your children old dirty bastard.
Yeah.
We've got nerding out and how do I still?
Oh, so we have to roll.
Yep.
All right.
So looking for a 1 or a 3.
But my wife is definitely saving Missy Elliott for a female dog if we get one in the future.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
How do I?
All right. So, Joe, hit it. What are we doing?
How do I guide my kids into the workforce?
Chat GPT, baby.
Merit America right now is teaching people as a charity to get into the
Baby Girl Faces. Let me introduce my friend named Claude. No,
Well, hey, not for nothing. I've told my sons, like, you don't have to do anything weird, but I'm telling you at 20, if you were to stream without your shirt on, a lot of people would watch you, dude. A lot of people would watch you.
Just saying.
So,
Yeah,
Charles trying to pimp out his son.
Yeah,
I mean,
look,
it was not pimping if I don't get a cut.
that's
It's
true.
coaching.
That's true. But you do hope you get a cut. Like if my kids get rich, like come on, like you're not
Oh,
gonna,
look, I'll 100%. My cut is him getting his own place and moving out. I'll save so much money.
fair.
You're just like, look, nix the baby oil because it's got a bad rep right now.
Right,
Well,
right,
it'll come
right.
back
Just
around. Everything comes back around. It'll come back
bare
around.
chest, bare chest.
Yeah.
No flourishes.
All right. So, Joe, do you have a story, or are you actually asking some advice?
No,
here?
I just in general, I think it's a good topic, and I think starting them on their own side hustles is a good idea to get there. Like when I was younger, I mowed lawns for neighbors. That was my early part. It's a pretty standard first job, so to speak, for kids. Yeah. Or if you're in an area that gets a lot of delivery boy. I went on my brother's route a couple of times just to talk to him and keep him awake because he got tired real easy. Anyway, but yeah, so that or if you're in a place that snows a lot, you can go shovel driveways. I did that a bunch of different winters when I was living in Philadelphia, and there's a bunch of different things. But I think just installing a work ethic will help them in general in the long run, regardless of what it is. So, yeah.
How to wrestle a bobcat. That's
right.
How to put that bobcat into a headlock. When you know how to put a bobcat in a headlock, you can handle the streets.
I've been there, done that.
Hey, I'm not messing with you, Joe. Charles is like 68. I'd rather fight Charles. This guy wrestled a bobcat for half his life.
No, let me tell you. Joe is like 6'2" or something like that, right, Joe?
All right, well, still,
you're not twice tall as me.
I'm not.
Even worse.
I'm 5'7".
Whatever. So I was trying to be generous. I'm
Joe
6'7", so whatever.
Yeah.
So Joe's not like the biggest guy in the world. And we had this guy giving him grief, Travis, right? Travis is a bodybuilder firefighter, but he's like 5'10" or something like that, whatever, average height, but he's real buff firefighter, got the beard, all this stuff. And he said something to Joe. Joe's like, I used to wrestle. He's like, oh yeah, I don't know what he said, but Joe scoops up a grown man into a firefighter carry and starts spinning him. And I've never seen such a macho man be so defeated, just lay there because there's nothing he can do.
I know, I'm from New York, man. We recognize game, man. I know Joe. He look all nice and calm and cute. You know what I mean? This guy will kick you across the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Now,
That's what you got to teach. You got to teach your kids to watch out for people like Joe.
You just got to make sure you're not fighting in school. You got to do that out of school.
That's right. I'll meet you at 3 o'clock in the playground. Bring your pet and I'll bring mine. We're gonna win. You gonna bring your handicapped dog? I'm bringing a ocelot. It's crazy.
Yeah, Michael Vick, dog fights got nothing on me.
Michael Vick would have tapped out like, nah, dude, I'm done. Never mind.
Back to the question of how do we guide our kids into the workforce. I start with community projects. We've always found ways to get our kids involved.
I mean, you've called your kids dad jokes, now community projects? Like what? What do you call them next?
You told me last week all I have is ideas and I want somebody else to do it. So how does this not track? Look, if I could just leave them on a street corner sometimes, I would. No, that's not what I meant. I meant get rid of them.
You
anyway.
want them to work the corner?
No,
I thought we said we weren't pimping. What's the criteria?
I don't know how I'm not the worst one on the show tonight. I don't understand. You two are out worsening me on this. Usually I'm the destructive force.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm trying to keep it together, and you two are just anyway. No, Joe. 4-H, like going and cleaning up dog poop at a dog show, doing tasks that benefit the community You go into soup kitchens, those kind of things. And then I did with my hustles, I had the ability at certain ages to take them with me. So I showed them how you set up speakers, how you put it to the PA, and even showed them here's how you work a microphone. And I'd let them practice, and they'd read off a trivia answer or something, and they would get more used to being in front of people. I know you can't always do that. Joe works from home, and he does an engineering job. I'm sure you could have him sit with you and watch some of your stuff, but probably not a lot, right?
Yeah, not much because of HIPAA.
Right. So
because I'm working with live data.
Look,
listen, the only kid I saw that had the balls to come on camera was yours, Joe. So you must be doing something right. Yeah. Was like, yo, I'm over here. I'm balling. And peace. No one is getting your face hip hop, and she'd be like, "What up?"
I think we need to get a hip hop. Hip hop can save America T-shirt for Bob. We need.
Hell yeah. Got you.
But so mainly baby faces. I mean, obviously you are.
I got 6 other ones too. Yeah. So
you're showing her. Yeah. Well, you're showing her the ropes of what you do. Yeah. But ultimately, you have a kid that's graduated college. I do believe. Is that right?
Yeah. I got two college graduates, and I'll tell you one of the things. And so, so here's my thing, and I learned this, and I give a lot of credit to Mrs. Faces. Wasn't my first wife, helped me raise my kids from my first wife. First wife is cool. We just hung out the whole family hung out too, blended family, all that stuff. However, I raised them, and she was partner with me for that. And my son, just one of the clan, the Wu-Tang clan of children. Can't use the word clan necessarily, so I have to preface it with Wu-Tang clan of children. If you just say your clan of children,
it depends on what part of the country you're in. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm in Georgia, and I look like this, so I just got to make sure I'm not crossing any boundaries. Anyway, so he went to college, and he was a smart dude, really smart dude, but he was having like trouble. Sometimes college doesn't click with us. It only clicked for me for 26 minutes. I'm pretty smart. I literally just wrote an academic textbook, so I could have gone to college, but I didn't. So whatever. But he was really smart. He was in college, went to Binghamton, was doing well, computer science. Came down for the summer where my ex-wife lived in Atlanta, which is the reason why we eventually made the migration. And they were like, "Oh, I'm hiring." No, my company, my ex-wife was saying her company's IT department is hiring, and maybe you should work, for the summer while you're here. Went to them and was like, "Yeah, we're not hiring for the summer. We're like hiring, but we'll talk to your son if you want." And she was like, "Okay," and I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we interviewed with them, and like they liked them, and they were like, "Hey, you've done pretty well so far. You know some things. We would hire you. We'd give you like." I don't even know what it was. Maybe $40K if I had to guess. Like, you're still 2 years in high school, you get $40K. Like, come on. Plus, we'll help you get certifications. Joe, y'all both know, get your Azure certifications and all your, things. We'll pay you. We'll give you a raise every time you get a certification. Come work for us. And he was like, now I'm the son of a college professor who, didn't go to college. So of course I now want to not skip I want to continue the generational. I think education is super important. I think college is great. And I was like beating them over the head. Like we worked really hard. My wife and I, when we were, they're in high school, go to college. We didn't buy a house. We rented in a really good school district just so they would get a good education. We kind of try to, work the system a little bit. And I was like, I don't know, like leave college. Damn. Like we worked so hard to get him into college and dang, he's going to state school. He's not paying too much. And my wife was like, listen, it might not be the worst idea for him. College isn't for everybody. I know it wasn't for me, but I've also struggled a lot because of it. But I also know that like my son is smarter than me. He's capable. And maybe this isn't necessarily something I want to force him to do. So I guess what I'm saying is, and throughout their lives, the arc was don't force them to do a thing. Let them kind of find their way. Because that's what I did. And it wasn't always great, but I turned out okay. And look, we come from places of privilege, and that stuff kind of works out for us. It doesn't work out for everybody like that. And so, maybe you have to do it a little bit differently depending on your circumstances, depending on your demographics. So, like you said, where you live in the country, what race you are. There's a lot of things that'll hold people back from just being like, just be free and do you. Can't always do that.
But you can also do both, because there's a lot of companies, like you said, they'll help pay for the certifications. A lot of companies will also help pay for your furthering education.
100%. So not be afraid of like deviating from, sort of the path that's normal. it's a hip hop way to do things. It's a very remixing life, and it's a way to find out, how we can get into I can't come in through the front door. Oh, I can't come in through the back door. But maybe the side door is not so, guarded, and I can find my way in. As we say in hip hop, you get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? You make $1 out of 15 cents. It's little ways to kind of find a way to say this opportunity is here. Let me not necessarily be afraid of it, and also as parents, don't let them think that they can't do that. Like,
Right.
My daughter right now, I have another daughter who graduated college, and she's very artistic. She's in Portugal right now, living in Portugal. And I'm like, why? And she's like, cause I'm just trying something. And I'm like, all right, shit. You don't have any kids? Like, go ahead. Like, why not? Like, why would I say that? But there's people that are looking at me like, no, girl, you need to be here and do this and do that. That's not a way to get, you know what? I don't know. She might find her purpose out there. She's not a moron. She's not an idiot. She can, handle herself. She, let them kind of find their way, guide them, be the guiding light, but also don't get in their way. A lot of parents get in the way.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I love what your wife put in the chat there. Not everyone is made for college. Charles put it up there for a moment.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing is everyone would benefit from having a love of learning, but not necessarily of college. Because once you stop learning, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because
I learned
if you
more in
stop
the
learning,
library. Remember my library days?
that adult library.
100%. But furries and everything. No, 100%. I learned probably more, just as much. And I got to the opportunity to learn what I wanted to learn, and that let me, amplify my natural tendencies. School doesn't do that. School doesn't always do that. So yes, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and there's a lot of potential for vocational schools because no one wants to do it, and so those salaries are just going up and up and up. Yeah. Like, college is one path, but it's so dang expensive.
Okay. I don't want to get on my soapbox about college, but I agree with everything that's being said. And Lady Faces said, I'm all college and I hated it. MBA later, I'm not using it for anything.
Yeah.
Same.
My wife got an MBA. She's brilliant, but it's not really helping. Like,
I don't have an MBA, but I do have a degree. And I was telling a story to somebody else today who we had a mutual friend and had an argument with him about college isn't for everybody. I didn't need college. I have a degree, and it's worth about how much toilet paper will you trade me when I need toilet paper for it. That's
I got a lot of wee-wee pads left over.
And a lot more companies are recognizing experience.
That's the key, Joe.
Instead of just
because
they
have to.
Degree.
Because the thing is, you can have. And I'm not actually saying Lady Faces is like this, but you can have 5 MBAs and be the dumbest person on the planet. You don't know what you're talking about. And you can have 0 degrees, like Manny, you and I have 0 degrees, and we are good at what we do and who we are and how we do things. And so the story was, I was having an argument with this guy who believed in, he's like, I was almost got my doctorate and my divorce ruined it, but I'm going to get, and I was like, I have a business and it doesn't matter. I've never used it. He goes, oh, well, I used it for you. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I hired you to do social media and this and this and that, but when I saw you had a degree, I actually started considering you for running the school and doing all this other stuff. I'm like, that's dumb because you've known me for years. We worked as paramedics on the trucks together for years. Right. You could look at me and go, you know what you're talking about. And my degree had nothing to do with any of that. And he said it's about finishing something, do something cool. And my friend today said, look, you did it because it's the way the light hits it on somebody else's eyes. They saw you differently. I'm like, great. I spent $11,000 for one guy to see me differently. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I like you say, you get in where you fit in. I mean, I know sip out and all that, but that's it. Don't try to fit in where you don't get in. Yeah. It's be you. And that's why I'm talking about, I'm done with the 9 to 5 and all of that stuff because I had one more big lesson learned and it moved me into a position I never thought I'd be so I could run this charity and really have an influence in that world again. But I'll never go back to clocking in for somebody else because it was 5 years of good, but hard times because I'm working for the man. And it's like, you can hustle money somewhere. Now, Joe, You got a degree in computer programming. Am I mistaken? Is that right? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're 100% using it and you love it. It got you where you wanted to be. There are some places that need that. And when my son decided to drop out of high school, that's the talk we had. You said it, Manny. You cannot force them to do things. So we had a long talk that I've talked about on the show before, but the quick version was, I know that I made my way with and without school. And it really doesn't matter to me. The schooling I have I don't feel like it did me a service in this world other than maybe some life lessons. But I can also always go back and get a certification, a schooling, anything else, a GED in his case. So, but you can go figure it out. And he is.
Yeah. Well, and regardless of what you want to do in life, you need to determine what your end goal is and figure out the stepping stones that get you there. I've seen way too many people that get I was talking to someone the other day. They got a degree in like South American studies or something, and I turned to him, I was like,
there you go.
I was like, what was the career goal with that? He's like, I don't know.
Teaching.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, with that, yeah.
And now he's going back to school again after having like 5 or 6 kids and trying to go into the medical field. And I'm like, okay, well, do you have an end goal now? He's like, no, I just want to do something in the medical field. I'm like, okay, so you're just making the same mistakes again. It's fine to
you don't have a direct target.
It's fine to go into the medical field, but you should have an actual goal that you're going for. Yeah. And for some people, that'll be, I want to be this job. That'll require these certifications. I want this job. Okay, well, I can do an apprenticeship. Mm-hmm. I can go to vocational school. You figure out the job you want to do. And then figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, I do want to caution with one like caveat. Again, like I said, we come from a place of privilege. There are folks in the world that don't have that, on the surface, get those like opportunities to be, experimental with their lives. For marginalized folk, a degree helps. Just because you have to work twice as hard to be half as good, or twice as hard to be half as respected. You know what I mean? Sure. For women, for Black folk, Hispanic folk, for immigrants, so there's a lot of people that say, okay, yes, in a perfect world, we would all be judged on the content of our character. You know what I mean? Doesn't happen. So so if you have to kind of go through the role play of education and get those degrees, I can totally understand that, and I would never hold that back, even if it's something you don't want to do, even if it's a field you may not even think you're gonna go with, because to walk away with a bachelor's degree, does give you, unfortunately, sort of that mark of something that you need, right?
The NBA has a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you though?
Do I know? What
do you have to get bachelor's to
I don't know.
Even
me, I don't like. I've renounced my privilege. I said I'm not going to get a degree. I'm going to name myself Manny Faces, and I'm going to do hip hop. So I've renounced all my white privilege. Throughout my.
I definitely had a lot of advantages, but I also showed up to college with $50 in my bank account.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you're going to work hard for it, you can make it happen.
Right.
I would say yes. I mean, Oprah's story is the big example of that. Yes, but that's when I first started learning how crappy our world is. When I was a young kid in the '80s and started learning about affirmative action, and my innocent heart, who never judged anybody by skin, just you're a person, I'm a person. We're people. We have skills. You do this cool thing. I do this cool whatever. Yeah, even at 8, 9, 10, that's how I saw the world, and I had to learn that the world doesn't see it that way. Yeah. It doesn't matter that
Joe,
you're
you got in with $50, but you got in. Yeah. Some people don't get in. In with the same $50. So I'm just saying, so the caveat is, Joe, but you said it earlier, Joe. You said companies are now open, right? To you don't need a degree. Companies are now open to you don't have to check the box that you've been convicted of a felony. Also, right? There's some progression in how companies are looking at. Let me just take you by, can you do the job? Are you a decent person? And I could judge that,
Our society was built on apprenticeship and journeyman.
Right.
And college started for doctors and lawyers. Those are professions that need that crap.
Right. Right. If you're a lawyer, you need a precedent, you need some new law, a lot of studying, a lot of proof that you could do the job.
Kids, the lesson today is burn the colleges down. Let's go.
No, it isn't.
I happen to know some school abolitionists, but I will say this. I'll say this is sort of the premise to the Hip Hop Can Save America ethos. Let me bring it back and center myself because I'm the guest. Hold on. I just want to say this. Joe, you touched on it. Like, if a company's willing to say, look, I'm a smart dude. I literally just wrote a textbook. This is not centering me, but I'm using it as an example. I literally just wrote a textbook. My book has been released on an international academic press. It's a textbook. It says textbook. I'd like to think it's a little bit more general interest book. So it could sit on Barnes and Noble, doesn't have to be, but it's a textbook, right? But I can't get a job as a teacher. I can teach you about hip hop, and there are people that are in colleges teaching about hip hop. I can teach you about the sociology of hip hop. I can teach you about the philosophy of hip hop, the history of hip hop. Like, there are people that are teaching this class in colleges all across the country. I can't get a job as a professor in a university because I don't have a bachelor's degree. That's bullshit. Pardon my language, family show. But there's a million people like me. And
You've got to find a college to give you an honorary doctorate, and then you're good to go.
We're talking you can add. I know there's ways around it, right? But that's me again coming from this place of privilege where I should be able to get these things. But there's a million people like me who are, again, from marginalized communities that are 10 times more brilliant than me. I profile a lot of people in my book who talk to those people and do this kind of work that are overlooked by society. They're overlooked by those jobs. So I'm like, if all this brilliance that we've done in aeronautics or medical or all these fields, computer science, right? But I know that the most ingenious people I've ever met are like hip hop heads that probably don't have a degree. Then, oh boy, are we missing out on a giant swath of America that can help add to the ingenuity and the progressiveness and the excellence that we already know to exist in our country. And that's why when I say hip hop can save America, it's not so much like the music. If we all know rap songs will be cool. No, if you tap into the industry, the people who made these industries, they're teenagers, they're marginalized, they're overlooked, they're brilliant. The ingenious is unmatched and unparalleled. And if we just bring some of those folks into the mix and stop relying on the old outdated metrics of you have to be this, you have to be this, you have to be this. So it ties into what we're saying today. So I agree with that 100%.
You get dads like us using our voices to say, hey, we believe in you. And we've made our way in different ways. It will help you if we can.
It's up to us.
Type of deal.
It's up to us.
And what I do love about that can't be a professor thing. It's the same way. It can't be a professor. I get to guest lecture at Kennesaw State twice a year as a digital media professional, and it's almost hip hop. It's like I stick it to the man. The man says I can't teach you, but guess what? I'm one of your most heralded guest lecturers, baby.
Oh, bro,
you got two different professors bringing me in.
I've spoken at Harvard. I've spoken at Carnegie Mellon. I've spoken at Ohio State. I'm in there too. Like,
stick it to the man.
Stick it to the man. Let him know I can be here too.
But mentioning your book is a great transition to our last segment of what are you nerding out about?
Oh my God, I'm so nerding out about it.
So I'm nerding out about it. So that's the other thing, right? No college, but you wrote a textbook that people are going to buy and teach out of.
Yes,
that's true. Now I want to ask you about that. So the book is called Hip Hop Can Save America, and we talked about it on mannyfaces.com/books.
Yep. Nice
book.
I ain't got books yet, man. I only got one.
You gotta earn that.
You gotta speak it to have it be, baby. You gotta say books a million, and then come on, you got it.
I appreciate it. I'm working on it. It was the worst. Writing a book is the worst experience.
This is true love, but you're not a paleontologist, though.
One day, you never know.
I can
do anything.
How
you know what? You're not in your next book. Just name a character after yourself and make it a paleontologist.
That's it.
And then, you're
make
good.
it a novel.
Make it happen.
The hip hop paleontologist. It'd be great.
So, can I go now, Joe? We good?
No, right, you can't. You're not allowed to go.
In writing the book, did you end up? Shut up. Did you end up styling it specifically to target a textbook, or did you write it in a way that the publisher you found said, "Hey, we can make this a textbook"?
That's a good question. So this is good for podcasters actually, because it's an adaptation of a podcast, right? So Hip Hop Can Save America is a podcast I've been doing since 2018, and I generally interview folks who are doing this kind of work. So hip hop educators, right? People using hip hop in their classroom. They're educators, regular teachers. They teach, but they bring their hip hop styling and ethos, and they're able to connect to kids in a way that traditional educational practices have failed. Same thing with mental health therapy. Same thing with science and technology, teaching kids how to do computer coding. Joe, you like this. They do a whole thing on teaching kids how to code in Python by building beats. So you have to pull from a repository of loops and drum loops and bass loops and snares and whatever. You got to say, make sure that this loop starts at bar 1 and goes 16 bars. After that, you bring in the bass line. It starts, from bar 16 goes to bar 32, but you can't drag and drop. You have to program it, and it's done in Python. It's called breakbeat code. It was started by a guy who works at Google, right? So he's in my book. I told about this practice, this workshop that he's designed. I've seen it happen. We're talking about 14 and 15-year-old kids in 4 hours in a workshop in a library, like 4 hours. They've learned the basics, ifs, thans, variables, how to do the basics of programming in Python. And they never even thought. Remember asking in the beginning, Joe, you said I wanted to design video games, not just play them. Some of these kids don't even know that's an option. They don't even know. They don't even think about like who makes the games, who programs the thing. They've never touched a computer in that way. And in 4 hours, they're like, I have the basics of programming in Python. When can I do more? When's the next session? Brilliant. But through hip hop, because they build the beats. We have a DJ at the end who plays all their beats as like a dance party, like a finale.
Nice.
It's so freaking dope. So that's the kind of thing that's in the book. Now, when I started interviewing these people for the podcast, and this is my lane now. Okay, so I'm looking for people who are doing these intersections. A wonderful professor, a good friend now, I guess, colleague, Aisha Upchurch, who taught at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. And she taught a class that was basically hip-hop pedagogy, right? Using hip-hop in the education sphere. Dope. She's a dancer. She's a hip-hop dancer. She teaches like through kinetic movements and blah, 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 blah. Longer story. Brilliant. She hits me one time and she says, by the way, your podcast is in my syllabus. And I'm like, what?
Okay.
And so she has like 2 or 3 episodes that are in her syllabus, people I've interviewed that are relevant to this whole kind of movement. And I'm like, wow. And my dad had passed at the time, but I'm like yelling at his ashes, like, you see, I'm in college, but I'm not in college. So at Harvard, they're talking about, I mean, it's me and I'm interviewing. And so I still feel like I'm the conveyor and the person who's bringing the stories to light. But then I find out like it's in more than one place. And like, there's a couple of like books that are coming out and I'm listed and my podcast is listed as a resource. And in fact, like the penultimate, not penultimate, it's wrong. The seminal book is called That's the Joint, the Hip Hop Studies Reader. It's like 9,000 pages long. It is the textbook. It's in its 3rd edition. People from Northeastern, Duke and Georgia State, like are editors and they've compiled this giant tome. And I'm one of the like only podcasts listed as a resource. And I'm like, wow,
that's awesome.
The work I'm doing is being used to help educate. So cool. So I'm deciding at some point, and I wanted to write all these ideas that I've had in a book, but then at some point, my man John Robinson, Charles, who was at the live Pod Jam ATL, one time years ago we were talking, and he was like, "I'm writing a book." And I'm like, "I can't write a book, man. It's driving me crazy." He was like, "Man, you talk, as you know, right now. I talk." He's like, "Just talk your book. Just talk your book into a thing, and then transcribe it, and then touch it up, and you make a book." I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll do that," and I never really did. But at some point, the epiphany hit me, like. Take the podcast interviews. There's a couple textbooks that are like 60% interviews. And I was like, yo, why can't I take my, interviews that are being used in schools, transcribe them, touch them up, add some commentary. And so I started the idea of like this journey that I take or that I took, interviewing people to be able to come to you confidently today and say hip hop can do things in all these different fields. Well, it was because I interviewed people that do this work in all these fields. And so I chose like very carefully, like one would assemble an album, right? Different songs in an order that makes sense, right? A tapestry that flows. And then I added commentary to each chapter. Each chapter is an interview, but why did I choose this person? Then what did I get out of it? And I was just going to kind of do it. And then one of my great friends and colleagues, Dr. Lauren Kelly, teaches at Rutgers University. We do a lot of work together. And she says, this might work for an academic publisher. I know it's not a textbook. It's a little bit different, but try pitching it to some of these academic publishers. Peter Lang, an international academic publisher, they're pretty good. They're like, oh, I see this potential. They're like, but it's a podcast. And so this is why I talk to podcasts. I say, they were like, it's a podcast. It exists already. Why would we put it in print? I'm like, you know that if I stop paying the podcast hosting fee, my podcast goes away. It's not written in stone. Like, if I stop paying my Captivate thing, it's gone. And I was like, plus, people assign textbooks, read pages 7 to 22, not listen to 12 minute 62. So they were like, all right, we can see where it's coming from. I said, plus I'm giving you commentary that weaves it all together and packages it as a sort of like grand thesis. And here's my validation in the middle, all by amplifying the voices and work of other people. And they were like, cool. And I was like, oh shoot, now I gotta do it. And it took literally a year, right about a year before I was able to do it and put it out and da-da-da. So I don't know what you asked me in the beginning of all this, but that's the path that it took to get to this place. Textbook. I didn't think it was a textbook. I did do this. I added a little section after each chapter. Key takeaways 1 through 10. Discussion questions 1 through 10. And so just pulling from the thing to say like, okay, if you're teaching a class, here's some help into how we can frame which we just heard and kind of, recenter the ideas so that you can engage in a classroom. That's the only thing that really made it textbooky. Other than that, I think I'm only a week in. It just got released. It was delayed. But it's out. And so I'm trying to see, is there some hope that like regular bookstores would carry it? Because I think that the lessons there are really applicable to everybody in every line of work. I have people that are educators, mental health professionals, an archivist who, like kind of the keeper of the culture. I have a music group named Gangsta Grass, which does bluegrass and hip hop, which I will say very clearly could either really be good or really suck. And what does that mean for the merging of those cultures? And do you mean that they go to places that are bluegrass heavy and rap? And they do. And they also rap about social justice issues, which you wouldn't think would be top of mind for someone in the middle of rural Kentucky. How does that work? Do we get people to understand like there's a cross-cultural connection? All kind of stuff in this book. So yeah, textbook technically, because it's under academic press. And one of my, I'll land the plane with this. One of my friends put out a book, and it was called The Hip Hop Mindset. Another great book about like the things that we get from hip hop that can teach life lessons. And she's like, it's not really a textbook, but because it was on the academic press, because it's like the hip hop mindset, like lessons for entrepreneurs, and she was like, so I just put it lessons for entrepreneurs, educators, and other professionals. And putting the word educators in there was like, yeah, it's fine. Now it's textbook. Now it's an academic press. So you got to work the angles. So no, I didn't think of it as a textbook. I do think it's applicable in college classes. I think it'd be used as one, but I also think it's a general interest book that really anyone can benefit from.
That's awesome. I'm not going to follow that, Joe, yet, so you get to go next. Because that was such an amazing run and story. It was so good. And actually, you got me thinking about, I've had a couple books spinning in my mind, and I've got some paths ahead of me of teaching and different things. So
yeah.
You're inspiring me.
I appreciate that. I didn't expect to be here. And and again, it's like, I'm really freaking smart, bro. Like, I'm not stupid. I know what I'm talking about, but I didn't think like I'd get a book deal. I didn't think I'd, be out on academic. I didn't think I have a book in like actual, and I don't even have it yet. I don't even have it in, like, I'm that new to the media run that I don't even have it yet. So to me, it's kind of still not real. I'm waiting for my complimentary copies to be shipped to me, but you could damn sure buy it on the website, and people have, and it's real. So yeah, it's inspiring even to me. Like, I didn't think I was going to be able to do this, and it's career wise, it's like the greatest achievement, and I'm very humbled and appreciative of it. So if I could do it, bro, like, yeah, hell yeah, like, it's possible.
All right, Joe.
There you go.
You gotta take the bullet, man.
In a huge tonal shift, what I'm nerding out about is a couple weeks ago I talked about how I had started working on the MCU movies with my boys, and so we're progressing through that. Yeah, in release order.
Okay.
We're in the middle of the first Avengers.
Okay.
So we're working on that, and my youngest, that Charles likes to call Jebediah, he is so
Mormon name.
pumped,
Right?
so pumped about Iron Man specifically. He loves Iron Man, so he has now asked us and my in-laws to start saving cardboard boxes because he wants to make his own cardboard Iron Man suit that he wants to paint and whatnot. And so
he has to do it in a cave.
Yeah, with a box of straps.
Yeah.
And so he's just
That's
eating
dope.
it up. He tunes out basically all the he's tuned out basically all the movies that don't have Iron Man in them. He's like, does this one have Iron Man? Oh, I'm gonna go play on my iPad.
How old? Can I ask how old?
He's 6. He's barely turned 6.
Wow, that's dope. Okay, yeah.
So yeah,
I'm trying to get Baby Girl Faces to do the same thing. Like, I try to get her into him. She's like, I'm like, come on, this would be great.
he keeps putting a box on his leg and walking around stomping. He's like, gotta work on that Iron Man costume.
I like it.
These mans ain't gonna iron themselves.
So it's been super cute to have that experience with them, and it's almost like experiencing it again for the first time myself, but vicariously through them. So it's been a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun. What about you, Charles?
Before you do, Charles, I want to yell at my wife. My wife says, listen to my wife. My wife is an Iron Man fan. She's the one that likes all of the Iron Mans. And I'm like, well, you got to watch, Endgame. And, we know what happens. And she's like, no, I don't want to see that happen. I'm like, but you don't understand. That happening is such a brilliant, like, it's in its greatness. Like, she knows what happens, but she doesn't know how it happens. I'm like, you gotta see it. She's like, no, I'm just not gonna see. I don't want to see him go out like that. I'm like, but you gotta see him go out like that. That's what makes the legacy complete. Like, how are you not? So it's a very touchy subject in this household because I wanted to. Because it's so good.
Did you see the meme that made it better that he didn't get the right music license? Because if he played Ozzy Osbourne's where he does the intro, "I Am Iron Man," it fit the scene so well. You hear the guitars, and instead of hearing that, "Oh, I am Iron Man," he goes, "I'm Iron Man." And he snaps. It fits, and then the music hit. Oh, some fan did that. It's like, oh, they should have done that.
Oh, it's so good. I wish you would do it. But yeah, one day I'm gonna. Baby Girl Faces does love. We did watch Guardians of the Galaxy. And and with the animals, oh my god!
Oh, y'all watched the third one.
Oh my god! Oh my! I was like, yo, let's watch that. She's like, no, I'm never watching it again. Oh my god! Yeah. I love her. She's the best.
Man,
Charles, you were gonna go. I interrupted again. As I often do.
So, hustling, man. You're talking about getting some keynote speaking and doing the different things. I live for that. I love that. And for the last couple of years, I've been pushing myself to get into more cons and to do more of what I do and then performance and moderating and talking to interviewing celebrities, those kind of things. And in the last year, I started dragging Joe with me. It's like, look, I had to make a call. It's like, I don't have time to put more energy into some project like this if it takes off and you're not going to go with it. And, it's a very 3,000-foot overview talk of if for some reason Wise and Nerdy really picks up and does well and you could replace your income with it, would you do it? He's like, yeah. I mean, obviously those aren't ABC steps. Those are XYZ steps, but that's all I needed because I had so many people go, I don't know. I like my job. And then when we did that, it's like, okay, to do that, we need to be out in front of people. We need to be live. We need to be doing stuff. And we found a way that works for both of us to do live cons. He's in Chattanooga. I'm in Atlanta. It's not that hard of a drive. So we have, between the two cities, we have some good cons.
I like Chattanooga. I've been to Chattanooga.
Yeah, it's a good place.
Right. Yeah. It's got 7-Eleven.
It's got great internet. Unlike,
I heard, oh my God, the broadband capital of the
world. Yes, I get to hear about it quite often. So
they do a Chattanooga Hip Hop Week. There's a hip hop festival that happens for about a week in Chattanooga, and I came up a couple times, and they're good folks, and I found that it was a good vibe. So
that's
maybe
awesome.
Not the rest of the year, but for that week it was cool. I'm just saying, I don't know. I wasn't up there any other time. I don't know. I can't speak to it.
But we're doing we just got accepted to Atlanta Comic Convention, and we're going to do the show live there and working behind the scenes with the guy that's doing all that. It's a new type of con for us because we've done Dragon Con, which we know, and we've done little cons like Chattacon up in Chattanooga, but they're all fan cons. This is a different vibe. It's called more like a commercial con where you're really going to meet the 100 celebrities that are there and maybe go to a few of their panels, but they're trying to really be a hybrid between just seeing the celebrities and paying for a picture and actually having other reasons to be there. And so we've not played a con like that where most of the audience is just like, oh, that kind of sounds cool. And I'm just excited about that. That's what I'm nerding out about, is that we're going to have these new opportunities. And I worked closely with this con for many years, and the person I worked with left last year. So for me, it's starting over. I'm having to resell myself, but I love it. And I love the opportunities it's pushing me into. And I love teaching people. So I'm trying to build my own service. So when I go to these cons, I give out this advice of here's how you do this thing, here's how you do that thing. That I can say this. You can always get the free con stuff. You can do that, but you can also come here and either pay for a level that gets you just videos, or you pay for my time. And I'm transitioning that. I know I had something else there, but the Atlanta Comic Con. Oh, and teaching. Yeah. So that was those two things. So Tyra, who is my partner, you met Tyra the other night, Manny. She's my partner on Be Awesome Together. We have been talking about doing some official classes on how to stream and how to do things. And she's a college professor, SEO expert and social media expert, all this stuff. And so we're actually going to reformat that show to, instead of being this kind of collective loosey-goosey thing of talking, to be more like what we did with you. Actually, we asked some what did you get out of it? Some educational questions out of it there. And we're going to format that show to be more of an educational. Sometimes it's going to be, here's how you do this streaming thing. Here's this and that thing. And
that's really interesting, because you see a lot of like tutorials, like today in this video I'm going to show you how to do the thing, and that's cool. But like the conversational aspect, plus the kind of learn, that's much more. I get it. That's
and it's so cool that you've come into my sphere of influence at this point, and you're talking about how you did your book, and that's your conversational book that's now a textbook, right? And also, I'm assuming you recorded it, so when they go to do the audio book, you don't have to read it. You can just sit and record it. It's all right there. But I'm very excited. I had a meeting last week where somebody called me and was needing my insight on their digital media project. Another one this week. And I actually need to start asking them, is it okay if I record the video, just point it at me and do that Twitch or TikTok thing where I cut them out a little bit to give them some anonymity. But just the advice I'm giving, the inspiration, the moments. Because I'm so excited. And it's scary. It is scary doing your own thing that says, hey, I'm worth it. I know what I'm talking about. Come listen to me, because I do have an ego. I do have confidence. But to go, I'm going to have to put in all this effort to write a book, to build a site, to fix the picture, to record the content. It's but when I get with somebody, I just get fired up. So I may make Joe meet with me every Saturday. Just ask me a question so I can record it and put it in my book. It'll be all right.
It's good to have a lieutenant, or maybe co-captain. I'm definitely a one-man band, and I got some advisors and helpers and stuff, but that's valuable. And
it is there. So
good guy, Joe. Good guy,
Daddy Joe.
Daddy Joe. That's actually my dad's name, so it really does feel weird saying that.
So many bad jokes. Okay, so one last time as we get ready to get out of here, where can we find more of you, your show, your book, your everything?
MannyFaces.com.
It kind of goes there. There's two choices. MannyFaces.com if you want a little bit more about me. Like you say, I do speaking, I do some keynotes, I do some things. It's a little bit more of that on the MannyFaces.com, but the menu will link you out to everything. If you like the idea of the Hip Hop Can Save America media ecosystem that I've built, you can go to hiphopcansaveamerica.com. There is the audio podcast. There is a live stream on Mondays most Mondays at 9 p.m. live on YouTube. And of course, the YouTube archives. So I do both audio and video. There is a great newsletter, free newsletter on Substack that we have off of there as well. I like to deliver good stories of hip hop innovation and insight to all the people. I like to say it's hip hop news that isn't about dumb-ish. So you can go to gossip stuff, you can read the Diddy stuff elsewhere, but like if hip hop's being used in a really inventive way that's helping humanity, I'm going to be the one that curates those stories, collects them, and delivers them to your inbox for free. So we have the audio, the video, the newsletter. I have a Discord server as well. It's all linked off of there. And now the book. So the hip hop can save a fly in here.
I thought that was on my screen.
What am I, Mike Pence up here? What's going on? So what I like to say is it is the world's most enlightening, informative, educational, and inspiring hip hop media ecosystem. And I could challenge anyone in the world that nobody gives you that kind of insight into the entire culture of hip hop, especially with the bent that I do, which is how it can help improve society and uplift humanity. So hiphopcansaveamerica.com.
Man, it's amazing. I love working with people who believe the same thing I believe, which is we're all here to help others be awesome. We're here to serve. And it's been great.
Hold on.
We'll definitely.
I got to swat the fly. Hold on.
We definitely.
Damn it.
We'll
Sorry,
definitely have you back on again soon, man. You've been a blast.
Thank you, man.
Joe, where can they find you?
Here. This is the only place
Awesome.
I am. Linktree/Joseph_Ard.
Same. Linktrees or linktr.e/
Yeah, that's right. You can find
RGOP42.
Charles at Linktree/Joseph_Ard. He said same. You heard it.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to go there right now and look for Charles.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
Hey.
Shut up, Mike.
Hey, yo.
Andrew, Bob, Valencia, all you guys come back next week.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all. My people's going to be your peoples. That's how it works. Like the Brady Bunch.
Is what Kurt would have wanted.